So I've been stuck on Job, and we really can learn from Job. We can. We can learn from Job. I've been studying, and it's just so much in it. It's just so much in it. And I just wanted to share. Starting with Job 1. So a little bit about Job's background. Just kind of scan over some things. We know that he was a man of in the land of Uz. He was a perfect, upright man who feared God. Who feared God. How many of us are fearing God? He had children, and to be exact, he had 7 sons and 3 daughters. Job was well off. He was well off. He had sheep, camels, yoke of oxen, 100 of she asses, in a very great household. He was well off. He was a well off man. The Bible said he was the greatest of all men of the East. Job was, if I was to describe him, I would say he was a man who loved his children. He loved his children. He was a spiritual leader who loved his children so much that he put them in the line of prayer before God. Praying to God as in hoping that they didn't sin, when it goes down to 5 where it says he will wake where his kids were feasting in their houses, everyone his day, and call for their sisters. And Job, being the father that he was, how many of us parents be worried about their children? Praying for them, praying, Lord, I pray that they don't, Lord, I'm praying for them on their behalf, that they don't sin. Lord, forgive them, praying on your behalf of your children. That was Job. So that's why I say he's like us today. He would get up early in the morning, the Bible states, and asking, saying his sons have sinned, and he was thinking these things that his sons have sinned, and they done it in their hearts. They cursed God in their hearts. But he was praying for them continually. He would get up every morning because these children were feasting a lot. So he would get up that morning, early that morning, and praying. He was concerned about his children, like many of us are. I know I am. I'm concerned about my children. When they're at school, when they're at the park, when they're at their grandparents, when they're in stores, I'm concerned about my children. I want to be concerned about them, making sure that they're all right. They're on their best behavior. They're representing God, So that's why I said Job is like this. So when we go down to verse 6, where Satan is asking permission to tempt Job. Do you know that Satan asks permission to tempt us? Why do you think we're tempted with so many things? Satan go up to God and say, Lord, pleading and asking, can he tempt us? And he is allowed to. The Bible says that Satan is allowed to test us, to test the faith of the righteous. So in verse 6, that's what it's talking about, where now there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves. Now the sons of God that it's referring to is the angels, to present themselves before the Lord. And Satan came also among them. He was asking God, can he test Job's faith? Satan said he done searched the earth. So Lord put Job on the line, on the front line, bringing him up and saying, have you considered Job? So when you Look at yourself and your test that you are going through. Think how tricky, it'd be stuff back to back. Satan has asked the Lord, can he test you? You done overcame the last test. So Satan is asking God, can he test you? Because he wants to get you to curse God. And it seemed like it's worse after worse after worse. But when you're going through tests, read Job. I'm going through a test. I didn't want to look no further but to read Job. Because he went through them tests. So when we go down to 8 and it says, Lord said unto Satan, have thou considered my servant Job, and there is none like him. God brags. He was bragging on Job. God brags on his children. He literally brags. When you are going through your test, know that God has bragged on you. He has told Satan, have you considered my servant Raven? Have you considered my servant so-and-so? He bragged on us because he's seen, oh, they passed that test Satan done, and they still ain't cursed me. So he's putting us on the front line again. So yes, Satan is allowed to test the faith of the righteous. So when you're going through those tests, remember that and start going back to Job. Go back to Job because you'll really learn a lot. I know we done read this back to back, but when you're really going through tests, sometimes you have to find something that's fitting, and Job is fitting for me. So as we go on down, I'm kind of skipping over a little bit, y'all. Let's see. It's a part that really stands out to me. Okay, let's go about these different tests. So Satan is saying that he's gonna make Job curse God to the face. But God is still bragging, saying, have you considered my servant? You can test him. You can test Raven. But I told you beforehand, have you considered her as my servant? Because she won't. I know she won't. Because I've been too good to her. I done brought her out of the darkness. I allowed a way of escape for her every time. And yet she still trusts me. And yet she still submit to me, kneel before me, still fear me. So yeah, you can test her, Satan. Because the more she submits to me, the more stronger she get, because she know that her strength comes from who? God and the only one. So yeah. So, and there came a messenger unto Job and said, the oxen were plowing and the asses feeding behind them, and the Sabines fell upon them and took them away. Ye, they have slain the servants with the edge of the sword. I only am escaped alone to tell thee. So back to back, it was something, but I skipped one before about his sons where, let's see. And there was a day when his daughters and sons and his daughters were eating and drinking wine in their eldest brother's house, and there came a messenger unto Job and said, the oxen were plowing, the asses feeding. Okay, I said it. And fell upon them and took them away, and slain the servants with the edge of the sword. And I only, so that someone was able to escape. And that wasn't the only test. Here come another one. While he was yet speaking, there came also another and said, the fire of God is falling from the heaven and hath burnt up the sheep and the servants and consumed them, and I only am escaped alone to tell thee. There's another test. You see, we keep getting tested after test, and Job done experienced this. It seems like when you come out of a test, here come another one. Here come another one. While he was yet speaking, there came also another. That's why you sometimes hear the saying that we say, but I learned to not say that. If it ain't one thing, it's another. That's kind of what we're talking about here, because Job was literally getting one thing after another. But we don't want to think about that. Okay, keep testing me, Satan. While he was yet speaking, there also came another and said, the Chaldeans made out these bands and fell upon the camels and carried them away, ye, and slain the servants with the edge of the sword, and I only am escaped alone to tell thee. That's another test. While he was yet speaking, there also another and said, thy sons and thy daughters were eating and drinking wine in their eldest brother's house, and behold, there came a great wind from the wilderness and smote the four corners of the house, and it fell upon the young men, and they were dead. And I only am escaped alone to tell thee. Another test. Then Job arose and rent his mantle and shaved his head. This is what really stood out to me. Okay, so in the ancient culture of that time, let me read this part again. Then 20, we had 20. Then Job arose and rent his mantle and shaved his head and fell down upon the ground and worshipped. So the shaving of his head, again, is an ancient culture back then, is symbolizing grief, humiliation of someone passing. So imagine hearing your children done died. Many people gonna be questioning, Lord, why you do this to me, God? Why me? But instead, Job, y'all, this is so powerful. Job worshipped. I gotta take a pause right there. I want y'all to really, really tap in and understand. Job lost his children, but instead of cursing God, saying, God, why did you allow this to happen? Why did that test that Job went through was so inhumane? Why would you allow this to happen? You know, but that's what Satan wanted Job to do. He wanted Job to curse God. And when Satan tests us, and it could be so inhumane. Stop and think. I'm not going to curse my God, because all things happen for a reason. All things happen for a reason. Be like Job. I know it's hard, but worship. Worship. No, Job shaving of the head was not like, I think it's called the Nazarite. It was not a vow or anything, such as like John the Baptist and them cutting their hair off and stuff. No, it wasn't nothing like that. It was just the cutting of his head was symbolizing grief, humiliation, because he lost his loved ones. But yet he still submitted and still worshiped God. And most people may say, I don't know if I can do that. If I lost my child, I don't know if I can. That's not gonna, that kind of stuff takes some time. The testing, you keeping your mind submitted on God, you have no choice. When you keep your mind submitted on God, he gives you peace. Peace. That you can't do nothing but just worship God, because when you truly submit to him, you're going to know, God, you see and you know it's your will at this point. It's your will at this point. So Job worshiped. He didn't curse God. He worshiped. He worshiped him instead, and said, naked came I out of my mother's womb, and naked shall I return thither. And the Lord gave, and the Lord have taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. Still giving honor and reference to God. Still praising God. Still acknowledging the Lord bless. Just a simple way the Lord can bless you with things. He can simply take them away. That's the kind of God we have. So that goes kind of something and something else. Do not worry about these little treasures you have on earth, because the same way that you were blessed with, it can be taken away real quick, real fast. Fear the Lord. Fear the Lord is what I hear the Lord say. y'all, this is so good. In all this, Job sinned not. In all those testing, even the inhumane testing where he lost his children, he still did not sin nor charged God foolishly because he lost his children. And we say that we love God, but how much? Or do we love him enough to leave our family, leave our loved ones to serve him? Because that's kind of what that is. If he was to, God, why'd you do this? Why you do this to me? This, that. It's going to be like his love was more for them than it was for God. It would have been fake, wouldn't it? So no, this right here represents so much. So Satan done requested Job to come and test Job again, as if the first one wasn't enough. Come on, somebody. He done can't. Have you been tested to where you done already went through something inhumane, and then here comes another test, as if that one wasn't enough? Well, just take me under the water. So here comes Satan. Satan do not care. He do not care. There's no rules with him. He don't care. He's going to keep on asking God, can I test their faith, your righteous one's faith? Because I want to get them to curse you. But still, God still puts you on the front line saying, have you still considered my servant? Come on, somebody. So yet and still, Satan coming again. And Satan answered the Lord and said, from going to and from the earth, from walking up and down in it. And the Lord said unto Satan, have you considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and upright man, one that feareth, that word right there, feareth God. You better fear God. Whew. And escheweth evil, and still he holdeth fast in his integrity, although movest me against him to destroy him without cause. Even though Satan is trying to turn Job against God by those inhumane tests, Job still remained who God said he was. That perfect, upright, the man who feareth God. Still. And Satan answered the Lord and said, skin for skin, yea, all that man hath will he give for his life. Give for his life. I'm sorry, y'all, I can barely see. But put forth thine hand now and touch his bone and his flesh, and he will curse thee. Still saying, okay, that was that. I got him with his family and stuff. That didn't break him. But what if I hurt him? Not kill him, but something on his body. He gonna curse you. He gonna curse you. He'll put everybody on the line just to save his life. He'll put all his family, all his possessions, earthly possessions, everything, all on the line just to save his life. You affect his body, afflict his body. That's basically what Satan was saying. And he'll turn on you. He'll curse you in your face. And the Lord said to Satan, we at 6 on Job 2, behold, he is in thine hand, but save his life. So he can do, at that point, he can do whatever he wants to his body, but he can't kill him. Woo! Woo! How many of you been tested in situations where things was just, you're sick, disease and all this other stuff, but you ain't, it didn't kill you, because Satan couldn't kill you, but God allowed Satan to test you by attacking your body, and you wondering, what is that? This done happened. I was just fine, and this my body out of nowhere. After you done came out of a test. I just want, pay attention to your test. Watch how when you done been tested and you notice you're in another test, watch how it begin to attack your body out of the blue moon. As you done overcome, you just minding your business and your body done. Pay attention. So when Satan forth from the presence of the Lord and smote Job with sore bores from the sole of his foot into his ground, he took him a potsherd to scrape himself withal, and he sat down among the ashes. Then he said, y'all, this, marriage couples. More so talking to the marriage couples right here. This is really powerful. Pay attention. Then he said, his wife unto him. That's why we got to be in tune and unity and be helpmates. That's why God allow us to be. I am my husband's helpmate. I am Ricky Johnson's helpmate. So when there's if I even hear a utter of a doubt in his mind, knowing clearly the kind of God we serve, I'm gonna correct him. No, we're not doing that. Go ahead and no, we're not doing that, as he should do to me. If there's any little doubt, babe, you know what kind of God we serve. We ain't doing that. It's all faith over here. That's why we're helpmates. But listen at this. That's why I said, I always go back to Job when you're going through a test or whatever helps you. But this one right here helps me through my test. 9 of Job 2. Then said his wife unto him, dost thou still retain thine integrity? Curse God and die. Basically, this woman, his wife, was telling him, are you still trying to keep your integrity? God done this to you. Her faith was shook and shattered low because she was there while God was doing all the testing, allowing these tests to go through that Job was going through. And at this point, she just done lost. How many of you have sometimes lost your faith? See, that's why I said Job is the one. When you, Jesus, have your way, Holy Ghost. Being tested, have your way, Holy Ghost. And there comes a time sometimes where you may feel like, Lord, I done been tested after tested, being tested after test after test. I am tired. Satan plays on those emotions. That's why it is important to submit yourself to God, so Satan can't catch you in your emotions, because that is an open portal for Satan to come in and create the doubt in your mind. You got to stay prayed up in your word. Community. Be under community. Godly counsel. That's what I mean by community. Being among someone who's going to encourage you. Not someone putting, girl, this again? You might as well go ahead and you might as well telling you negative stuff, feeding you stuff in your no, and then you start thinking on it, and then to the point to where you say, I don't think this gonna work out. I'm saying, no, you better get you some godly people who's gonna say, girl, no, we know what God can do. We know it. Keep trusting them, keep praying, keep pressing, keep being in your word. You need somebody like that, because if they ain't like that, they don't have your best interest. I'm just being honest. They don't. Sorry to break the news to you, but it is what it is. Curse God and die, basically saying, just go on and curse God and tell him to put you out of your misery. Woman, please. See, I done learned a lot in my marriage. I used to, that little bit of something being tasted, I used to be like, if it's one thing, it's another, or Now we gotta do something again instead of paying positive. And Satan was playing on these emotions. But because I learned for that, I'm here to spread the word, to help you, encourage you, because I done been there, done that. That's why I'm stronger in this area now. And that's why this is fitting. Job is fitting for me through my test, baby. And I'm here to share this word, so hopefully it can help you in your test. You read it for your own. I'm just giving you the revelation of what God has given me. But you read it for your own. But pray first and ask God to reveal things to you. 10. But he said unto her, thou speakest as of one of a foolish woman speak. Yeah, she was foolish. She sounded real foolish. Girl, boo. Girl, bye. No, ma'am. What shall we receive good at the hand of God, and shall we not receive evil? And all this did not Job sin with his lips, and all that being on his body. Job still, he still didn't sin with his mouth, nor did he sin with his mind. Because if it's in your mind, you better be praying it out. Because the next phase is it coming out. Coming out your mouth. If you're thinking it, that's why they say in the word, it says if you think it, you might as well be uncoming, because that's why when you think it, you better start casting it down. Because you don't want it to come out your mouth. That's the next thing. It'll be coming out your mouth. No. We're not doing it. So yeah, she was a foolish woman. But how can we, what is this telling us? To learn from it. Raven. When we're being tested with trials, it's for me and my marriage. When we're being tested with trials that affects both of us. One may be, now that's why you gotta be helpmates. Somebody, y'all better be in tune together. That's why unity is very important. Very important. My husband may be in doubt, and I'm, babe, you know what kind of, like I said before, you know what kind of God we serve. We can't do that. As if I was, babe, you know what kind of God we serve. We can't do that. We help each other. So we would be foolish if we be like, oh, I'm just so tired. I just give up. I'm whatever, Satan. You can just, girl, boo, girl, bye. No, ma'am. We're children of the Lord. Do you know how much authority we hold through him? Girl, please. No. No, that's why I said Job is helping y'all. Y'all better read it. You go through your test, you better read it. I'm not going to read this whole thing. I'm going to break it up in sections, but right now this is fitting. So let's go on to community. Why community is important. Why good godly counsel. That's what I mean by community. Now when Job's 3 friends heard of all this evil that was come upon him, they came everyone his own place. And it goes down to where and when they lift up their eyes afar off and knew him not, they lifted up their voice and wept, and they rent away everyone in his mantle and sprinkled dust over their heads toward heaven. So they sat down with him upon the ground, and 7 days and 7 nights. And let me explain this ashes. That's like a consecration to God. And upon the ground 7 days and 7 nights, and none spoke a word unto him, for they saw that his grief was very great. So it is important to have a community of godly counsel. I'm not talking about no leaders or preachers. No, I'm just saying anyone in general who gives godly counsel. You know, who's going to encourage you, who's going to understand your suffering, have compassion for your suffering, show love through your suffering, not going to be cruel and, oh, that should have happened. No. We're talking about a community of God who's going to encourage you through your sufferings, saying, you got this. It's all right. The Lord is still with you. We're going to go through this with you. We're suffering with you. We understand. We understand how you feel. Community is important. Don't be foolish wives and husbands. Focus, pay attention to your test. Being tested. Pay attention and recognizing when you're going through these tests that God done presented you before Satan because he felt that you were a good servant. He put you on the front line. Have you considered my servant so-and-so, a righteous, upright, who fears me? I pray that this helps someone as much as it helped me. Y'all, the Lord is good. And I just had to share it because it helps me. It's helping me and will continue to help me through my many more tests. Like I said, I'm going through a test right now. And I needed a word. Lord, I need a word from you. Okay? I've been praying all day. I've been watching these little spiritual videos. But Lord, now it's time for me a word. I need something. And that right there is going to help me. And I'm going to meditate on that all day. Okay? So that it can help me. And when I go through another test, I'm going to refer back to that because it helped me through this test. I need to refer back to this to remind me, hey, God considered me to Satan. Because he know. He know. Because when I submit myself to him, I'm strong. Stay prayed up. Continue seeking God. Continue being under godly counsel. Continue being in your word. Bless you all. Love and blessings.